Okay, so hi. It's an afternoon, probably lunchtime, and we'll keep it interesting. So I'll start with what has been your story? What was that one moment where you thought that this is a problem I want to solve? Where did the idea come in from? So for you, sir, how's it been, and where did the idea come into being? Who noticed this gap in the market? Would you like to tell us about that?
Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I just want to thank the Startup India team for getting us to this point and putting us on this stage. For a startup like us, which is about 8 or 9 months old, this is a major platform. And from the entire team of PiEV Solutions, a huge thank you to all of you and to the government of India for giving us this opportunity. To your question, I think this is what we're trying to do is perhaps the most important thing for us to do. Yeah, sorry. So what we're trying to do now, I think is the most important thing for us to do, especially when we're dealing with sustainability, we're dealing with the climatic conditions, the change in climatic conditions. There is a sufficient impetus or acceleration that has happened with EVs being bought, transition is happening. I personally believe that this is probably the biggest event in the human history that everyone, it doesn't really matter whether you're in a city or in a town, you're in a country, but it is everybody from Alaska to New Zealand have been asked on a very tight timeline, on a very tight time scale to move to EVs. So people have, even government of India have signed to COP26, which basically says that by 2030, you cannot purchase a petrol or a diesel car. So it's a massive, it's a scale of, and India has about 300 million vehicles, 250 billion bikes, then you add light motor vehicles to it, then you add trucks and buses, and I get tired just looking at the numbers. It's such a staggering number. And then obviously, there are major players trying to create the EVs for people to buy. But then there's a massive other problem that has to be solved, which is of charging. Without the charging, that adoption will not happen. There is no way that people will actually feel comfortable buying the EV as their primary mode of mobility. And that is exactly what we're trying to do. And our problem for us is that we're trying to solve is how do we get 800 million EVs to charge? So we want to make sure that EV charging is available for everyone, everywhere, accessible, convenient, reliable, robust, makes, not very expensive, so on and so forth. So that's really what we're trying to achieve.
So I was asking about your USP, which say anyone in EV sector, for example, you are talking about. So you versus any other player, what will your USPs be?
Yes, I think for me to answer that question, is it okay for me to play a presentation on the yeah? So
Sure.
can we have the presentation, please? Thank you. So this is really our problem statement that we want to do charging for everyone, everywhere, and we want to be everywhere in the country, in the commercial spaces, government-initiated locations, residentials, highways, even provide solutions to the fleet. Next slide, please. As I was mentioning earlier on, so this is really a problem statement where we're trying to have we'll have 300 to 500 EVs. The question is, how do we charge? So we have set up this as our mission, and this is probably one of our USPs, that we are looking at setting up 1 million, is that number right? I'm not sure, but 1 million charging stations there, and 100,000 super stations. And we want to get to the point where we are able to charge 20 to 40 million EVs a day. So that is, I think these numbers sort of state what our many USPs are. And before anything else, I just want to play a small message. This basically brings me to the value more than the valuation, as His Excellency Ambassador mentioned on the first day, that the companies need to look at what's your value before you start looking at what your valuation is. And for me, the value really is that what are we building here and who are we building for? And just to prove that point, I just want to show a little message coming from our future CEO from 2045.
Program. Welcome to PiEV. This is the year 2045. I'm Aragoide, the future CEO. Our founder, Mr. Iftikhar Ali, has built this company for me and my friends so we can enjoy a cleaner and a greener world. He believed that the future was electric and built PiEV with some of his friends that made it happen. You see, dear investors, I love Pi and it's my future. Hope you have a great discussion with our team. I am sure they will have answers to all of your questions. We will love to have you as a part of our journey. Thank you for your time.
So yes, thank you. Thank you, Byron. So this really shows that we are trying to create something for our future. Because if we have to leave a cleaner world, EV as an ecosystem, as an industry, has a lot of dreams to fulfill, has a lot of engineering solutions to fulfill. It is not about creating an EV and putting it on the ground and let people buy, or even obviously charging is a key need for that. But I think the EV as an industry needs to become more and more circular, where we're able to create more mechanisms where, there are a lot of challenges. The challenge on the grid, there can be situations where the countries can run out of power. So that leads me to my next set of, so these are some of the other part of USPs as well. So we have charging, and we have our rewards card. This is India's, probably world's first rewards card for loyalty program, that is, for EV charging. And we have created a program called MyEV. I don't have a lot of time to discuss more of that in detail, but if you just have the next slide, please. Yes, so we're creating specialized solutions for the fleets, because fleets will need special care. And what we also want to do is we want to put our monitor the carbon credit on the blockchain. So that's the other big piece that we're working on, to make sure that the entire ecosystem really gets fully integrated. Again, this is not many people are doing this. Our USP. Next slide, please. And this is something that I wanted to introduce as future of charging. I'm quite happy to be able to do this at the VivaTech, along with the Startup India under the Indian Pavilion. Please take a look. Thank you. Thank you. So what you just saw was a big engineering feat that we are undertaking, and we hope to launch this soon in India. And thank you very much for your time, patience, my co-startup founders. Thank you.
So for PiEV, what does the future look like, sir?
The future looks very exciting, actually. We've had so many conversations about going global. I think the kind of ecosystem that we're trying to create around the charging space, all the related pieces, people are finding it very, very exciting. So we have, sorry, please don't play the video. So we have been asked to, come to Japan by one of the behemoths from Japan. You want to come to Japan? And I go, sure. And obviously, US is a market. South America. I mean, basically, what we're doing here in India, this is required globally. So we are looking at, we had some conversation yesterday by somebody who wants to look at us to accelerate for setting up in France, which I thought was fantastic. And also the super session that we just showed, this is a unique product. Would you mind if I just play that video one more time? Can you just play the video one more time, please? Thank you. With the volume. Thank you. So, thank you. You can clap. I don't mind. Oh wow! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. So this is a new product, and we are very proud to launch it in India. We believe this is a product that we will be able to export at least 500,000 units a year, if not more, because what this product really does is that it really brings in more intelligence into charging in terms of can it create or have multiple power source, not just the grid, but also look at off-peak hour grid power multiplied or added that with the solar mechanism. So basically, it's a integration of multiple engineering technologies all coming together. And India is a great test bed to make sure that this is running correctly. The temperature conditions, high temperature, low temperature. Fortunately enough, in India we can choose temperature. If you want to go we want really hot, we go straight to the center like Nagpur. Or if you want to go cold, go up beyond Himachal in some places. So it's a great test bed for us to make sure that it works in all sort of geographies or all sort of climatic conditions. And that then helps us make sure that we are ready for the world to export. 500,000 units, I don't see a big deal. Maybe 1 million units a year. I see a bright future for the company and as a brand. Thank you.
So for PiEV, for example, again the same question. Is it lead generation, brand building? What are you doing in marketing at the moment and your team, if you want to tell about this?
Sure. So we are really early stage. So all that you've just listed, everything is applicable to us. We need PR, we need our word to be out there, we need help from that perspective. We are looking to raise funds. So we're looking at a Series A of $20 million is what we're trying to raise. We want to leap, we want to be an exponential company. We want to leap from our stage 1 to stage 2. It's a massive leap for a small company to look for a Series A of 20 million, but that is what we need to be able to deliver the vision and be on the mission that we're on. So that will help us get to about 1,500, 2,000 stations in India, become a major brand. So Pi would be known as a brand relates to EV and various other things. Obviously not in manufacturing. So we need everything that you listed, from lead gen to help from the community, from the government to make people understand that what we are trying to do is very, very, very important. If we fail, that's a bad news. Because then what we are saying essentially is if charging fails, then EV adoption fails. If EV adoption fails, then the sustainability dreams of what we started off is at a question mark. And we don't have a lot of options other than going electric at the moment. We don't. So thank you for all the, for this platform, for this stage. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So as an add-on probably to the same, just yesterday I was discussing, I think, with a speaker on how EV came into being. So for example, CNG came into being only when the public transport moved to CNG, and then there were stations put up, etc. So infrastructure was built, and only then later did the consumers adopt it because they saw it is possible to, yes, charge it easily. So do you see some kind of a similar model which might work for a segment like yours, which is new?
That's a great question. Actually, when we were setting up our charges at IIM Bangalore, we were having lunch after setting it up, and there were a couple of wonderful students there. We were just having a chat, and I asked, "What do you think? What we did here?" And they go, "Well, this is fantastic. This is great. This is exactly what we should be doing. We should have our chargers first, and then people buy EVs." So that was a great comment. I still remember that conversation with that particular individual. But I think this is a problem that we're trying to solve. Last things first and first things last, because it's again catch-22. Nobody even thinks about setting up charging stations if there is no EV. So I think the manufacturing community across the world have done a fantastic job, obviously led by none other than Mr. Elon Musk, about creating a new industry and opening the opportunity for electric vehicles to be part of the individual mobility. This is a fantastic revolution that he brought about. I think what we can do is create that secondary step to this ecosystem, which is of creating charging, which is what we're trying to do. Yes. So, but catch-22, you don't know what to go first with, but we know as together we know we have to get to the point where people move to EV, people have the necessary accessibility to charging platform. Thank you.
Got it. Any which order, you can tell me about each other startup or the sector. If there's one imagination or something that you have that this is what the future would be looking like for this. For example, for drones, it'll be if I can have a cab flying in the air, no traffic, I just reach my location when I need to. So probably we can start with PiEV. Any idea on robotics or drones where you think this is a crazy idea, but if it comes true, it'll be great?
Sorry about that. I think the initiatives that the robotics that I've talked in length with him. I've talked in length with Raghav and Madhu, what they're doing with the drones. I think these are phenomenal shootouts from our community, from the country. I would have personally loved to be a part of some of these things, because I think I really think that what they're doing is fantastic. I have even shared one of the vision that we have for Pi that it's too early for us to even talk about, but I have shared some of the vision with Raghav and Madhu on the drone part. Not necessarily a drone, but I believe the roads perhaps in 5 to 7 years time is probably at EOL, it's end of life. There is the jam in the road is getting to a point where your desire to move from point A to point B does not exist. So you have to have a different mobility. We have Raghav and I. We discussed about this, that how do we make that thing of a possibility, and that is one area where we want to collaborate on and see what else we can bring. But I love what
probably a EV charged vehicle which can go.
Yes, and the kind of startups here, I was mentioning to some of the people here that they're great startups, great diverse platforms here, and like Raghav said, any of these can blow, but it's a great ecosystem that we have created here. Thank you so much once again. Thank you.
I think it is innovators like you who have changed the landscape and the perception of the market. So thanks to you guys, and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody.